You know, right. The podcast that uncovers the origin stories of some of the biggest names in sports, media, entertainment, entrepreneurship, and so much more. Nick Durst here, along with Joe Calabrese. Big guest today, Joe, a fellow podcaster. Guy's the captain.
Absolutely. He liked that very, very much so. As you could see by his background,
Yeah.
huge South Carolina Gamecocks fan. As of this recording, they're actually getting ready to head to Death Valley to play top 25 ranked LSU over this upcoming weekend. So I'm sure he's excited about that. But we get to pick his brain on his most recent season of Big Brother 27. We're very happy to have him on the show. We welcome Will. Will, how are you today?
I am doing amazing. So glad to be talking with you guys today.
Likewise, Will, and I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on right now. What's the first app you're checking on your phone every day?
ESPN.
Yeah, gotta
ESPN.
see those scores. I like that.
Yeah, I got to see the scores. Come on, man. Some of the kids will probably say Instagram or TikTok. Mine is ESPN. I got to see what's going
Yeah,
down. So,
especially with those late games that end at
oh
1:30
yeah.
in the morning. Nobody
Yes.
stay awake for those.
No. So I got to stay on track of what's going on, and yeah, that's
Will,
fine.
how do you feel about all the conference realignment the last few years?
Dude, it's crazy. You got to have a scorecard to keep track of everything. What's going on with the realignment? You got the Big Ten, they got 18 teams. You got the SEC, you got 16 teams. You got the Pac-12, they got what, 3 teams, whatever it is now.
Yeah,
Everything has changed.
nothing says Southeast Conference like Texas, which is not in the Southeast. What are you at?
Oklahoma,
In
Oklahoma,
Oklahoma, yeah,
USC's in
Missouri.
the USC's in the Big Ten now. I mean, this is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, it is. It's nuts. And then, like with the ACC, you got Stanford, you got California. Like, come on now,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing too much.
They just got to be the Coastal Conference then,
Yes,
instead of the Atlantic Coastal Conference.
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So your full name is Clifton Will Williams, right? So when did you just kind of start going by Will?
I started going by Will probably when I joined the service, you know. So I was Private Williams, and then nobody said Private Williams, so it was always just Will, and then it was Sergeant Will, and then it was Lieutenant Will, and then Captain Will. So it just morphed into that. So it always nobody called me Williams, so it was always Will.
So
And then
let's
once I retired, it kind of transformed to my civilian friends. When I introduced myself, to say Will.
so let's dive in a little more about your military background. What was the primary decision-making process behind your decision to enlist and join the military? And do you personally come from a family, or do you have other close friends who are also interested in serving?
Well, okay, first question. So I was in college and I was a young father. So I had a son when I was 19. So the best way I felt at when I was 19 years old to take care of my son was to join the army. So I dropped out of college. I joined the army at 19. I turned 20 years old, and I never looked back. And it provided a great opportunity to take care of my son and with healthcare and things of that nature. And that was the reason. Now, obviously, during the course of time during the service, I graduated from college and got multiple degrees. But that was my initial reason of joining the service, was to take care of my child. And the second part of the question was my two of my uncles, went to Vietnam, and my first cousin went to the army and stuff. So it was some encouragement of me going to the service. And so I guess you could say I was from a military family, so to speak. My daughter is serving right now. She's in the army. She's been there for 5 years, and she's right now in Fort Lewis, Washington. So the branches are kind of extended in terms of the military family for the Williams household. And my wife, she served. My chocolate drop, she served as well. She retired. That's when we met in the army. So she retired about 10 years ago now. So,
How proud are you? Seriously.
oh my God, brother, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I beam at the service that my family has done, and it's a tough gig because you're put in a lot of situations where you are away from family. You maybe put in harm's way. I've missed a lot of birthdays. I've missed a lot of holidays in over the course of my 22 years of service. But What I've learned in life was that it doesn't matter if your birthday is on June the 5th. It's a matter of what day you actually celebrate it. So if my birthday on June the 5th and I'm not home on June the 5th and I come back on June the 12th, we turn it up on June the 12th.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't, the dates are irrelevant. The actual experience is what's more important. So
Makes sense. So obviously you got the podcast. Were you born into a Gamecocks fandom? How'd you become a big fan? And also, while you're in the house, Dawn Staley is getting interviewed by the Knicks to be their head coach. You think Dawn's
dude.
going to be a head coach in the NBA one day?
Okay. So my brother, Clemson fan. I'm a Gamecock fan. We have argued, we have fussed since we were children, and we're still doing it in our 50s. So he went one way, I went the other way, and that's what went down. In terms of Dawn Staley, if Dawn Staley chooses to be an NBA coach, I would love it. You have the first female head coach in the NBA ever.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to happen. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but she's dipping her toes. She was offered an interview here at the Charlotte Hornets. She got an interview with the Portland Trailblazers. So I think it's eventually going to happen in just a matter of time when the NBA actually takes that leap and hire a female head coach. They are so behind times right now of not having a female head coach. And what better way to set that precedence by hiring the Dawn Staley? And I can't wait for that to happen.
That'll be quite the episode of your show when that happens.
Oh.
So, real quick, Will, how'd you end up starting the show, and how much have you been enjoying doing it over the past few years?
Well, I started thinking about it during COVID. Everybody was thinking about stuff during COVID, and I kind of like put it on the back burner because during COVID, I had 4 of my grandkids living here, so it wasn't enough time to get myself situated. But after COVID, and I started focusing more on the thinking process of the podcast, and then I thought about initially I was going to talk football. And I was going to do some NFL stuff. I was do some South Carolina football. And then my wife and I went to visit our daughter in Seattle. And it's like, I remember us going up to the Space Needle. And she's like, why don't you just talk about women's basketball? You've always been following it. You always got a passion for it. And it's not like a lane for it. And I was like, okay, bet. Listen to me. Let me try that way. The niche wasn't being done. So when I jumped into the space, it happened well. And because you got a male talking about women's basketball and passionate about it. 3 of my girls play basketball. My wife played basketball. So I've been always a part of females playing basketball. So I thought it was a great opportunity, and I dived right in with it. And it's been a great experience, thus far. It's been about 3.5 years so far.
So, Will, what's the real USC? And, obviously people say USC, they think about something. My cousin, she's a freshman. She's a Gamecock. So I got to tell her to get out to one of those basketball games.
The real USC is South Carolina.
Yes.
So there is going to be a game in LA, Southern Cal playing South Carolina. The game is November 14th, 15th. I can't recall. And it's going to determine who's the real USC. Whatever. Had a conversation with Ashley, I believe, in the house, and because she was when she was going to, she went to UCLA, I believe, but she was dating a guy from Southern Cal. We had a conversation about the real USC, and I think it was, or maybe it was Morgan. I can't recall. Whoever it was, the South Carolina has been a school longer than Southern Cal. So let's be clear. So the real USC is on the East Coast. So I know Southern Cal gets more publicity. They're LA, they got the championships in football, and they go. But the real USC is South Carolina, especially in women's basketball.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah, oh of course. So you mentioned your adopted daughter Ashley, who ended up winning the game. So let's get to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Big Brother. Let's talk about your interest in the program. Did you apply for the show or not? And ultimately, how did you get cast?
I applied back in February of this year. It was one of those things, I think it was right after the Super Bowl. And I talked about it for a while with my wife. I said, you know what, one of these days, I'm going to apply for Big Brother. I've been watching for a long time. I said, I'm going to try. I'm going to throw my hat in the ring. And I think that she had went to the grocery store or something, and I filmed a podcast. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna let it roll. I'm gonna let the camera go, and I'm gonna give it my best and see what happens. And so I got contacted in April about the next step, and the rest is history. Um,
Yeah.
it was something that I never thought that I would ever do. I remember watching it when I was in my 20s, and I was like, okay, I could do this show, but I was in the service. There was no way I could have done it. But to do it at 50, to be accepted at 50, it was awesome.
Yeah. I loved your signature pose every time you got called up for the
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
video.
that just morphed into something, man. It was initially I was like, I'm gonna try something, and I just kept doing it, and the cast members loved it, so we just kept on
It
doing
was
it. It was really
awesome.
dope.
So you get taken out because apparently you're too nice of a guy, which it was such nonsense. But do you think was it a bad move for the house, specifically Vinny at that time, to vote you out when he did or when they did?
I think it was that was so crazy because I thought I was gonna stay. I was supposed to stay.
We all thought you
And,
were going final three, no
Final
doubt.
three, final four. Yeah.
yeah, everybody. Yeah. So this is the deal. Vinny, we had the judges, but you had a situation with myself and Ashley on the block. So Ashley and myself were on the block. They felt more. They felt Ashley was more beatable than I was.
Guess they were
Um,
wrong.
yeah, and then that's how things happen. That's how the game is. You think that this other person is more beatable, but that be the same person that beats you in the end. And it was just I would say how Vinny and Morgan flipped over that week to save Ashley versus me was tough, but I understood why they did it. They just didn't see Ashley coming back and winning the damn game. And I was so happy for her.
Yeah. So Ashley, I mean, maybe she was lying now, we don't know, but she had no clue who Clark Kent was. So what was the most unbelievable thing when you were listening and not tuning them out that you heard in the house that you were like, wow, these young kids, they really aren't with it.
Dude, it was so many things. It was so, I mean, okay. Ashley obviously was playing a dumb role. Sometimes Ashley was taking it too far with a dumb role, and I hit her. I was like, girl, come on now. You out there a little bit. But the Clark Kent thing, that's potentially true. It's a possibility that Ashley doesn't know who Clark Kent was or is. I'm not surprised by that. What Ashley would morph into things where, okay, you talk a little bit too much about things that you should know about. It was some conversations about apartments, some conversations about houses, and she was taking it from a perspective like you talking some legalese that we don't know, that us as regular folks don't know. Um, I can't even think of some things that, because she was Ashley was so all out there sometimes, saying some stuff, and you just gotta laugh. And then we just call it the Ashley isms because she was just some random weird takes. Or she'll look at you, was like what? And it was, and after after the game is all over, and she made her speech, and and kind of said what she said. I don't know. Ash and I need to have a conversation really about, okay, what was real and
Yeah.
what was
I
fake.
think you got to ask her about Clark Kent though next time you
I
guys
have
talk.
to. I have to. I watched that movie. I watched the new Superman movie when I got out of the house, and that was so freaking good.
Yeah, well, maybe Ashley gets a cameo in the sequel for that,
Oh, I
and
would
she'll
love
know who Clark Kent is. Last question here, Will, and we'll talk down the road about some Gamecocks for sure. But last question for today: in your life or in your career, what would you say has been your I'm right moment? What I mean by that, it's a time or place you wanted to pursue something. You asked somebody for advice. They said, "Will, sounds like a bad idea. Don't do it. Not going to work." And you were like, "You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway." And in the
Yeah.
end, you will see why it is that I'm right about this. And I can tell you, I told you so.
Well, I say the Army. Joining the Army was that moment. I was 19 years old. I was confused. I was scared, but I felt in my heart that this was going to be the right thing to do. I could have stayed in college and followed that path that everybody wanted me to do, but joining the Army in 1996 and showing. I mean, I'll be real with you. My mom said, "Oh, you're not gonna make basic training." You're not going to complete basic training. That's what she told me. And but showing my peer group, showing my friends and family, and being able to have a situation in terms of being a young father, and change that into a positive versus a negative, and then sticking with it. You know, my first enlistment, I was so homesick. I'm going back. I want to go back home. I miss my mom and my daddy and everything. But it helped me grow up and become a great person, and to help me mature and to become a great father and a young man. And that would probably be my biggest part. And I was like, okay, whatever. You know, I did it. Y'all not gonna change my mind. And I did it for 22 and a half years. So shout out to the haters that didn't want me to join the army. I did it, and I was very successful in doing
Well, Will, first off, thank you and your family and all your
it.
close ones for all the service. We cannot wait to meet you in person down the line. Nick and I,
Absolutely.
we personally work for a Division II college and kind of ingrained in that same type of community that you are. So good luck with everything moving forward. Good luck with the Gamecocks. We appreciate you taking the time to do this with us. And what we do here is we always give our guests the last word. So if there's anything else you would personally like to share or promote for yourself, by all means, go ahead. Where can we find you? And what you got moving forward, Will?
Thank you so for the opportunity of just chatting it up, chopping up with you guys. And obviously, I got the Gamecocks Talk with Captain Will podcast is popping, and my wife and I are gonna be doing a relationship podcast. Hopefully, it'll be
Ooh.
dropping on Monday. Um, I'm eventually going to do another podcast that's going to be talking about football and basketball. Just a lot of crazy things with interviews and things. And be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. I will be doing be on the broadcast team for upcoming women's basketball
Oh, all right.
Oh,
uh,
yeah.
game. Yeah, yeah. So potentially that's going to be happening in November, and it's going to be on ESPN Plus. And that's really what I want to do, is call basketball games. So I can't wait for that. So
Well,
thank
Well,
you've
you for the
come to the
opportunity.
right show for that, Nick.
yeah. Well, you're gonna crush. We know you're gonna crush it. No doubt about it. This has
Thank
been
you.
awesome. Will, thank you so much for your time. That's going to do here for this episode of You Know I'm Right. For our very special guest, Will, my co-host Joe, I'm Nick, and this has been You Know I'm Right.